Adele Marie Mizell is
Turned 5. Oh, my goodness.
She's 5.
Yes.
There's something about her turning 5 that just feels weighty. And I was a wreck. Like, I think I cried at least 100 times. I was cutting out hexagons. Her theme was Join the Hive. But to get Adele on this earth was a journey. It was a journey of infertility. It was a journey of miscarriage. And we just want to share that with you. We want to be vulnerable with you and kind of walk you through what it looks like to get Adele Marie Mizell. Perfect. Welcome to the Mizell Show.
An inspiration for a new generation.
Hi, I'm Alana Mizell, a loving mother of 2, a devoted wife to Steven, and an entrepreneur helping women realize their dreams and potential.
And I'm Steven Mizell, caring father of 2, a devoted husband to Alana, and a driving force to help young men prepare for life after college football.
And if that wasn't enough, we're a biracial couple.
She was raised in the North, but I was raised in the South.
The only thing normal about our lives, who am I kidding? It's never normal around here. Join us for the Mizell Show.
Right now.
Okay, in all seriousness, here's how...
Are we recording this? Or
Yeah,
are we just talking
yeah. No, this is serious.
Hey, the Mizell Show's back.
The Mizell Show's back, but here's how juvenile Alana is, as I talk in third person. Every time this microphone comes out, I want to do one of 2 things. Start rapping Salt and Pepper, or...
Make an awkward sound.
Okay, so maybe 3 things. Salt and Pepper, awkward sounds, or bonqueequee. Like, those are my 3.
Every time we're on the microphone.
Every time it comes out.
Oh, my goodness. Adele has no hope. Adele is going to be as awkward as you are in front of the
Briggs is going to be worse.
I don't know. Briggs?
I don't know. Briggs already carries some clout.
Briggs carries some clout.
Briggs carries that beat drop. And he's already
Briggs
buzzing.
knows the beat drop. But also, I don't know, Adele, I think Adele's going to get your weirdness.
Okay, yeah, she's super weird already. So, let me just tell you a quick story. This podcast isn't even about Briggs, but since we talked about it.
We're starting off with the story about our kids?
Always,
okay.
So, right now, ready, let's play this. Okay, Briggs, make the sound of a dog.
Ruff.
Briggs, make the sound of a chicken. Cluck.
What?
Clucks.
What does a chicken do? Cluck.
Okay.
You supposed to throw me
what sound does a pig make?
Oink oink.
Briggs, what sound does a Kanye West make?
Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Yes, I
because
died.
that's real life.
Yes, I died when Briggs did that.
Also, if you say, what sound does Drake make? He'll start dancing like he's listening to God's plan.
Like,
that's
of course,
his plan.
this is jam.
He loves it.
He loves it.
Anyway.
We're back for another episode.
On the
On the Mizell Show.
But
we just celebrated Adele's 5th
birthday. And let me tell you something about Adele.
Can you believe she's 5?
No.
Adele Marie Mizell. She's 5 going on
17.
No, like 13, 14. Like that pressure teenage.
Rough. She's rough right now. So her birthday theme a while ago, she tells me, I want it to be Beyonce themed. Me assuming that it's going to change and trying to convince her to do Fiesta. Because 5 Fiesta just sounded so cool to me. Because it's not about her. It's about me decorating.
It's all about the parents decorating for the kids.
Like
under the age of what? Probably 12 is about the parents?
Oh, for sure. But really, Adele picks pretty good birthday themes.
But she's also easily convinced by you, though.
You're right. But she did not sway from Beyonce.
Oh, it's Beyonce, though. She doesn't sway from Beyonce at all.
There's a video of her saying that she is professional Beyonce.
She's professional Beyonce.
She put that in one of her school things.
Yes.
It was like, I'm a turkey. I'm not a turkey.
She's told her teacher.
I'm a police officer. I'm not a such and such. I'm a this. I am not a turkey. I am Beyonce. Is what
she said. I am Beyonce. And on top of that, she told the teacher, I don't run the world. I run this classroom. I'm like, no, that's probably not the thing to do in pre-K. But all right.
You do you, girl.
And the thing about it is, like, we're not even huge Beyonce fans now. I mean, like, I like Beyonce, but I don't know how she got.
I don't know how it became.
It became a thing.
A thing. She knows all the jams.
All the jams.
She loves Beyonce, and she's never seen her concerts or anything like
Nothing.
that.
We've never watched, and she just has it, and she knows it. And my mother says all the time, "Boy, you just wait." And I'm like, "Oh,
Is that what your mom sounds
yes,
like?
yes, that's just how." I'm like, "Oh my goodness, yes, it's going to be."
Yeah.
But yeah, Adele. And I
But
think
so let's back it up. So 2 weeks into dating, we had gone to church. It was a Sunday. We go back to my dorm room because I was in undergrad. Stephen was graduated and
you're in an apartment.
No,
Like,
I wasn't. I was still president.
But that's an apartment. That wasn't a
Okay,
dorm. Is
it owned by the university?
No, but first of all, it was an apartment. It's not like you're living.
It was an apartment. It was a townhouse,
like in Richardson Towers or something.
Okay, not a typical dorm room. It was more like the apartment, the townhouse living that like upperclassmen typically get.
I guess you could say that. Yes.
Anyway, so we were there
at the church,
and we're chatting. 2 weeks into dating.
2 weeks into dating.
And the name Adele Marie came up.
Adele Marie came up. But before this, you had previously told me that you had no desire to have kids.
I did tell you that. Yeah I did.
And I promptly said, well, you hadn't met anybody like me before.
You ain't wrong. You ain't wrong.
So, yes, we're talking about a name Adele Marie came up.
What, just speaking it into existence, I guess?
Yeah, but the funny thing is, before I met Alana, I had never heard of the artist Adele. Like, never.
Well, and right around then is when her album 19 dropped.
19 dropped.
And
good music.
We listened to that album.
We did.
Like, we listened.
You put me on Adele, and I had no idea who she was.
And one of our first New Year's together, you bought the DVD.
DVD.
For those that don't know what that is.
The DVD.
The DVD of Adele's album.
Live at the Albertson?
I have no idea where it is, but it's awesome.
It was awesome.
And I can't show it to Adele, my daughter, because...
Oh, so much profanity in it. And also, we don't have a DVD player, though, either.
You're right. But, so, Adele, the singer, not only carries weight because her name came up when we were courting, because I would never say we were dating. I would always say courting.
Hanging out.
But also, our first dance song after we got married was to Adele's version of Make You Feel My Love.
Yes.
Which was, if you don't know this, was originally a Bob Dylan song.
She redid it, and it was...
Actually written by Billy Joel. She redid it after Garth Brooks did. So I knew the song from Garth Brooks in the movie Hope Floats when I was younger.
knew it from Adele.
From Adele on her first album. Yes. That was like the song that put her on the map.
Oh, man.
And one of my sorority sisters actually sang it at our wedding. All that to say, as soon as we found out we were having a girl, we were like, Adele Marie. Like, we almost called her something else.
We almost called her something else.
But we didn't.
We did.
Thank heavens. So, but to get Adele Marie.
I think it goes back to after we got married, and I think any young couple has that whole trajectory of you go through dating, you go through planning a wedding, and the wedding is awesome, and you have a good time, and then shortly 2 hours after the wedding, when are you having kids? Oh, well,
oh my gosh.
Like,
and you had so much fun at your wedding. When are you having kids?
And it's one of the things that me and Alana, we knew getting married, and after getting married, we wanted to have kids, but we really went kind of with the flow. We never set a mental time frame like, hey, if I get this job or this is what we're looking for. We had bought a house. We were excited about the house, and we enjoyed it. And then we never really talked about having a kid. We talked about the steps to having a kid.
We like to practice.
And we stopped with the safe practice.
But we didn't even. But like. Kind of like what Steven said, I never wanted kids until I met Steven. I had no urge to have children. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't like, and when we were dating, when we were getting married, after we got engaged, there was always the game of like, what did Steven say? What did Alana say? The awful wedding shower games. Yes. Yeah. And how many kids do you want? And I remember one of them, I said 0.
Yeah.
And Steven's mom looks at me like, tell me you didn't just say that my only son is not going to have any children.
Only son. And that's
that my Zell name will not go on.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is about that is that my dad has a brother that has no kids, and I think we have a cousin that has a girl. So like the Mizell last name and like it's
would have ended with Steven.
Would have ended with
and
me.
And it would have been my fault. But it's pretty much what moms thought. But we never talked about it. We never said. So at some point, I don't even remember, but at some point it was around Thanksgiving the year that we got married. So we got married in March, and around Thanksgiving we were kind of like, all right, let's stop birth control and see what happens.
It was that soon?
Yeah.
Dang. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah.
And it was just like, I don't know how long this is going to take.
So hold on, you went from not wanting to have kids to what? We were 6 months into our marriage, and you said, let's do it for it? Mm-hmm. I thought it was longer than that.
No, bro. Nope.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. You are way better at these timelines than I am.
It's because I'm the one that had to stop remembering to take it.
It's true. It's true. So yeah, now around Thanksgiving,
so around Thanksgiving, we also had decided that for our 1-year anniversary, we would train for a half marathon. Which, let me tell you, I will never do that again.
Yeah,
I hated it.
We trained for a half marathon.
Like, it was just one of those things that I was like, I got to do this, and then I'm like, what? Like, I'm not a runner. I don't like it.
So we weren't even married a year. We started thinking about having kids. Man,
yeah.
I guess I'm a good guy. Huh.
Well, I guess God had a different plan.
He did have a different plan.
So we found out a few days before the half marathon that we were pregnant. And I remember running. Stephen was far in front of me because Stephen is much faster than me. I could actually walk faster than I ran that half marathon, but that's fine. I was technically running.
Yeah, you're running.
Jogging. I could definitely walk faster.
Maybe could.
It's fine. So I remember half of the time thinking about the fact that I was carrying a child. Like, and it was just weird.
It was weird. It was weird because we didn't expect it to happen that fast, and it did. And we were like, okay, then of course when I'm green in terms of having. I was like, can she still run to have marathon? There's too much stress on her body. And she's like, bro, like we just found out it's okay. I'm like, okay, cool.
Right,
okay.
and I've trained for this. It's not like I woke up and I was like, I'm gonna go run a half marathon. So that was March. Mm-hmm. March 16th.
Yeah.
Is when the half was. When it's really bad, you remember the date. And then by April, I don't remember the exact date that we found out we had a miscarriage. But I go into the doctor's office, and Stephen was with me, thankfully, back when spouses could come into the doctor. Yeah. We were, hopeful to hear a heartbeat. We were around 8 weeks.
Yes.
And so we knew, we're going to hear a heartbeat. Okay, here we go. So we're in there, and the ultrasound happens, and then the tech doesn't say anything.
The tech does not say anything, and then Alana not being from here, and then me not knowing who to refer her to an OB, we got a referral from a good close friend of ours, and we kind of just went for it, and we had we heard good things about this office, but I think, honestly, thinking back on it, from the first time I went there, I felt different. It felt kind of cold. It didn't feel very welcoming. And then we go there for the first appointment. We go back for the one we think about the heartbeat, and the ultrasound tech doesn't say anything. And then it's the dreadful. I mean,
it's the waiting game.
This time I wouldn't wish upon anybody. Like you go through the whole process, and the ultrasound tech usually can't tell you anything. It's like you need to speak to the doctor. And then,
and that is practice specific.
I guess practice. Well, in this practice they did it, and so
they did.
I promise you, it was just one of those days when I think God was talking to our hearts, but the ultrasound tech could not say anything, and our doctor was delivering a baby, and so we sat there for 3 hours. 3 hours and 15 minutes. Just
3 hours and 15 minutes. We just sat there. I took a nap.
You took a nap.
I took a nap.
It was miserable.
Yeah, it was miserable. We knew it was going to happen. We didn't understand why. I
think at that point I didn't realize it had happened.
Oh, I knew exactly what happened.
You might have, but I didn't know.
But I wasn't going to talk about it.
Yeah,
because I didn't want it to be real. So I had miscarried at 6 weeks and 2 days.
Yes.
And we had to wait 3 hours and 15 minutes for somebody to just tell me that.
And she came in, and I'm gonna be honest with you, she just told us. I mean, like,
and it was
it wasn't a
I get that she probably delivers that news more times than I even want to think about. But I'm a heart person. I'm an empathy person. I'm a, come alongside me kind of person.
Yeah.
And that's just not what we got. So we closed that chapter real quick.
Close the chapter real quick.
Well, let's back up. So then they tell me that I needed to come in on my birthday, which was cool, to take medication or whatever. That's too many details for men. But I had to essentially get rid of the pregnancy kind of thing.
Yeah.
And get rid of the remaining. And so that's what we did, and that's how I spent my birthday.
60th birthday. And it was...
Which is my first birthday as a married couple.
Yeah, first birthday as a married couple.
No, technically it was my second because we got married in March. But
yeah, like it was...
But yeah.
Yeah, and so the crazy thing about that is that we can't go into it in this podcast, but relationships and people that come alongside you when you're in a season of waiting or a season of frustration are extremely important. And you have to also realize that some of these people are going to just pop in and pop out. But we were grateful that during this season we went through it, and then we took a step back and we kind of tried to figure out, like, all right, we went through this, so now what? And through our relationships and connections, it's a funny story, but working orientation. One of our
so Stephen was in admissions
at
the time at the University of Memphis.
And so we did summer
orientation for freshmen and transfer students.
And a student pops in, and his name is Kyle Neblett. Recently married, Alana just told me. So shouts out to Kyle and his recent marriage. But long story short, he's there. He went to a private school that had a really good relationship with the counselor. And she was like, oh, he is awesome. And his dad's my OB. And I was like, okay. But she was also a close friend. And she knew what we had been through. She said, I really think Alana should try and reach out to him and see how she feels about it. And end of story. No.
So, no. So fast forward. I meet his dad, Paul. And let's also say, so we are friends with this family, and we actually went to see Kyle play down at BB King's, and he's so stinking talented.
Yeah.
And like I still was like, I don't know. So then I meet Paul, and then here's when I knew that he needed to be my doctor. I was struggling with all the things, and then versus me going into his office first, him and his wife invited us over to their home. And now he probably doesn't do that for everybody, but that's what I needed. That's what my heart needed. He heard our story. He heard what was going on. And he invited us into our home. And also his wife's compassion is just absolutely amazing. And they've got 4 kiddos that are just, they're amazing. We could talk about them for a long time. So fast forwarding, I go to see Paul and... Sorry, Dr. Neblett. And he puts me on metformin. So metformin is typically used for diabetic patients, but it's called off-branding when you use it for something else. So it's used a lot in polycystic ovarian syndrome, which is more common than a lot of people think, especially becoming more and more common now that it's been a diagnosed issue. It essentially means that women are not ovulating. And so there are a number of things that happen. It can be weight related. It can be insulin resistance related. It can be none of those things, and you just don't ovulate. So metformin can help do that. So that was the first thing that Dr. Neblett put me on. And then moving forward, he was like, let's try that. But the best thing that I've learned about doctors is that if doctors aren't going to take the time and articulate in your words and kind of down on your level why you're taking what you're taking, then they're probably not the doctor for you.
Yeah.
And so he was able to do that. He was able to do that when we ended up taking Clomid, which if anybody's ever taken Clomid that listens to this, it is no joke. There's tons of side effects, and typically I'm not a side effect to medication person. That one I am. And nothing really worked.
And I think going back to when struggling with the miscarriage and having people alongside us, but also for me, people don't talk about miscarriages. I mean, people do talk about it, but they don't talk about like what it comes for. I mean, of course, the woman who carries a child and feels it, but then also for the man.
Yeah.
And I've said this to Alana before. Like, I really didn't. I mean, maybe I'm showing my naiveness, but like, I didn't know about miscarriages. I didn't think I knew of anybody that experienced it until I experienced it. So I was very numb to it. Like, oh, it's gone. The baby's gone? Like, what does that, what does that mean? I don't understand.
Yeah.
And so, and then, because in the misconception of being, just being honest, raised in the church and raised in the South, sometimes you are kind of pushed upon, if you do this act, she gonna get pregnant and a baby's gonna pop out. It's not like, oh, this act happens and it could be a miscarriage. It's called infertility. And they don't, I wasn't taught those things.
The journey of
and
that.
the journey of that. And so...
And it wasn't until after I had a miscarriage that I heard about other people that had miscarriages. And I'm just like, I don't understand. Now, I get that maybe based off of my age when I was younger, that maybe I shouldn't have known. But I would think at some point I would have at least known that these people had miscarried and just how common it was. And so at the time that I had miscarried, I knew one other person that had miscarried. Actually knew the person.
And they told you about it?
Yes, because I worked with her husband.
Okay.
So I knew their infertility story.
Okay.
Like, I knew that.
Okay.
And so it was the only person I knew to reach out with. And really, I didn't reach out to her. And there's just so much turmoil mentally that goes with that. And so much from a women's perspective of like, is my body broken? What did I do wrong? The shame starts to like trickle in. And then as you go through infertility, the shame just gets stronger. So as metformin didn't work, as Clomid didn't work, the shame of my body failing me got worse and worse and worse.
And then also you have it from a standpoint of that you're hearing these things, and then you get introduced to another doctor who says, hey, and Neville wasn't saying he can't.
So Dr. Neville had gotten to the point where he was like, this is my favorite thing about some doctors is when they have the vulnerability to say, this is beyond what I can handle.
True.
Which is where Dr. Neville got. Like, he didn't have, it's not that he didn't know about infertility or what to do next. It's that wasn't his specialty.
But isn't that something that I think we as people struggle with so much, that he has some people have a unique skill set to take a step back and be like, hey, this person's smarter than me. You go talk to them.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't want to do that. I
can't remember. There was somebody that said to us, the best thing that you can do is hire people that are smarter than you in every facet of your business.
And respect them being smarter than you.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
so,
if you hire people that are smarter than you, or you surround yourself with people that are smarter than you, guess who's going to look better? You.
You are.
And then, you're going to end up learning more.
And the people who you work with, or the people who are your clients or customers, are going to respect you even more, because that alone drew us even closer to Paul, Dr. Neville, because he said, hey, I'm going to bring in someone smarter than me. Here's a referral.
But I'm not going to do it too early.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm really going to exhaust everything that I know and that I think. And then on top of that, I'm going to step out and I'm going to call the fertility specialist. Did you know that I sell makeup? Not only do I sell makeup, but the makeup that I sell is 3D makeup, which allows you to highlight and contour your face in a super simple compact. As a mom, I could not survive without my simplified routine. Not only that, but it's exactly what you need. Exactly when you need it, all in one spot. Go ahead and check out Alana Mizell on Instagram or alanamizell.com to learn more. It was a year and a half later. We go to a fertility specialist, and
but in that year and a half, how did you feel that we grew together? And were you still feeling shame? Because I think the flip side of that is that people who are struggling through this, it's a strain on the marriage. It's a strain on the woman. It's a strain on the husband, because he can't he wants to tell his wife it's okay, but she's like, no, this is my natural instinct. I'm supposed to just raise a family for you if you want to do it. And
right.
It's not there. So what in that year to have?
So for me, it was a lot of, well, I said I never wanted kids. There's the shame associated to that. There was also a lot of shame in other things that have happened previous to that. There was a lot of everybody around me is getting pregnant. What's wrong with me? Like, there was one day, I kid you not, 7 people I knew announced that they were pregnant. And I lost it at my desk. Like, just lost it.
Yeah.
I could not keep it together anymore. And you get reminded every single month, about every 28 days, that you're not pregnant.
Yeah. You get reminded, and even, to bring it even closer to home, and you worrying about God's journey for you and your family.
And at some point, you toy with, am I supposed to even have a biological child?
Yeah, because the hit at home, my sister got pregnant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So, I didn't forget about that.
Yeah, but it was a month later.
It wasn't even a month later. So the reason that they waited so long to tell us that they were pregnant was because of my miscarriage.
Yeah.
And so every year when my nephew's birthday comes around, what do I think of?
Yeah.
So our first child would have been born on the 6th of November. That was the due date. Who knows if it would have ever fallen on that date. And my nephew was born on the 11th.
Yeah.
10th or 11th. I always get it confused with Veterans Day. But so every time somebody tells me how old he is, that's what I think of. Every year on my birthday.
Yeah.
Although I have 2 beautiful children and I've been blessed with 2 beautiful babies, and that not everybody gets that blessing. Blessings.
But you have to. But you remember.
But I think that people who have not experienced a miscarriage just think that, oh, I have 2 kids, so it's just gone.
No.
But as soon as one of my dear friends just lost a baby, and her mom said, you've got to still grieve that miscarriage, because for women, as soon as you find out you're pregnant, you've already started to think about the fact that you get to plan a wedding. Yeah. You maybe not a wedding, but you think about the milestones that you're gonna. You think about kindergarten. You think about their name. You think about their nursery, and that's just how we're wired as women. We are wired to nurture these babies that we've longed for. Whether you've longed for them for just a short time, whether you just found out that you were pregnant and ended up miscarrying, you still long for that child. And that's something that should not fall on deaf ears, that you still have to recover from that. And I will challenge people to grieve that with your spouse. Don't try not to exile them out. And one other thing that we did in the waiting between first miscarriage and Adele was we started reading books together. And so we read every Monday night, we'd read a chapter. And so, but they were Christian marriage books that brought us together as a unit. The other thing that we started doing was praying with each other before we left for the day. And that's still something that we do today. And you guys heard that on an earlier episode as kind of like a day in the life of the Mizels. But that started after I miscarried. Yeah. And us saying, okay, we have 2 choices here. It can break us as a marriage. It can break us individually. Or we can come together and realize that, baby or not, each other came first.
And it's why it also brought us to even the tougher decisions, that to go to Fertility's Associates of Memphis, to go to FAM, and we got a phenomenal doctor there, but we became even closer to more difficult relationships.
So I did have to have, just for people that might be struggling with infertility and kind of what's going on, I did have to have a couple procedures to see you get tested on all the things. So if you're going through infertility, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm more than happy to walk you through. Now, I only got to a certain point, but I can always refer you to somebody else that had to go further than me. And so I did have to have an arthroscopic surgery to remove a polyp that they believe was left over from the previous pregnancy. which is just a whole nother kit and caboodle. But I also got my endometriosis removed, which a lot of women don't realize that they have. And so,
And then also, I had to go through a series of tests to see what.
And I also got on a thyroid medication, which, so it was kind of figuring out the cocktail of fertility for me. And
through all these times, you have to remain strong. You have to remain strong. You have to remain hopeful. You have to continue to talk to each other because every day you're saying, okay, is it this? Is it this? Is it this? And you're learning and you're trying to trust the doctors and you're trusting in them. And we got to the point where we had both said, and everybody's journey is different, but we had both said we do not want IUF or
IVF.
IVF.
Yeah. So Steven just gave me the look like you're gonna need to break that down.
Yes, you break it down, but
Let me
we
break
both
that down
came
real
to the
quick.
point.
So after my surgery, we had an appointment with the doctor where he kind of went over everything that he saw, and we were told we had a less than 11 or 12% chance of having a baby
on our own,
biologically.
Yes.
Not biologically. That's not what I mean. On our own, without medical help,
without assistance.
And so he was just like, the next step is to get an IUI. So an IUI is the same environment. It's just making more eggs drop. So the increased chance of twins, but not as significant as some other things. And so that runs in Tennessee about $1,000. And insurance does not cover for infertility. And so state by state, in state of Tennessee, infertility is not covered. And there's a phenomenal organization that we'll tag in the show notes that is working on getting coverage in the state of Tennessee for all of the procedures and the appointments. Every time we walked into the doctor at Fertility Associates of Memphis, it was a $50 copay. And let me tell you how many appointments we had there.
Exactly.
A lot.
Yes.
A lot of appointments. And we have great insurance. And so, so the next step would have been an IUI. And at that point, Stephen and I said, we just got to hold on.
Got to hold on. It was going
we
very...
We just got to pause.
Pause, yes.
Like, we got to pause. We got to reflect. We got to decide what we want to do. But God, because actually, while I was sitting at that appointment, I was pregnant with Adele, but we didn't know then.
We didn't know then. We were pregnant with Adele.
And the doctor literally said... He was a believer, and he said, I'm not God, so you could be pregnant right now. And we just don't know. And I remember sitting there going,
Yeah.
But guess what?
You were.
I was.
You were pregnant.
You were
pregnant with Adele Marie.
Mm-hmm.
And when we found out that we were pregnant, it's just, you have that.
Then I was terrified.
You're terrified. You had the hesitation, like, will it happen again? And do we tell less people? Do we wait? And it was just but this time it felt different. It felt that, we had been through our miscarriage and we had prayed for this child and we had asked God to send us. And then the doctor says, it's less than 11% chance. And we were like, but this is what we agreed upon. That's why it's so important to talk to your spouse, because it is frightening how a baby can, I hate to say it, almost tear marriage apart.
No, it does.
And we've seen people get divorced over infertility, miscarriages, because I hate to say that child and the pregnancy becomes an idol. And you're like, we have to get this done. We have to do this.
Right. The longing for a child becomes more important than the marriage that got you to where you could have a child.
Amen. So that's why it was very important that we communicated, and we knew going to that meeting, you know what, we're going to hold off on the IUI, and we're going to see what happens. And sure enough, we were blessed with a beautiful young girl, Beyonce that just turned 5. And
I do want to just quickly explain. So we explained what an IUI was. We didn't have to do one. We were blessed that we didn't have to do one. But what IVF is, for those that are kind of early in the infertility, or maybe have a friend going through it and are kind of apprehensive, talk about it. IVF is literally removing eggs from a woman and extracting them out and having the egg and sperm fertilized in a lab. And I do want to also say, from a sensitivity standpoint, guys, stop asking women when they're going to have babies.
Stop asking when they're going to have babies. Stop asking the couples and let them. And that's the thing that, people say it and they try to say it in the sweetest way, but again, as we said earlier in our podcast, people don't talk about miscarriages, and it's a thing where it's not talked about. So that couple that you see that's Instagram perfect, like, when they gonna have kids? They haven't posted about the 6 miscarriages they had,
right?
And so you don't know what their struggle is, and that could be the reason why people don't want to talk about it. But you have to be able. You don't know what they're going through.
Well, and when somebody is going through a miscarriage, personally, and pretty much every miscarriage that a friend of mine has had, both of my miscarriages, I didn't want people to come over and hang out with me. Like, I wasn't trying to be buddy with everybody. It wasn't that I didn't love my friends, but not the time.
Yeah.
When somebody has experienced a miscarriage, unless they ask you to come over, don't bother them.
Yes.
Just don't bother them.
It is okay to
wait for them to heal. How people grieve through miscarriages based off of them.
Yes.
And that is it.
That's it.
And it is, especially if it's their first pregnancy. And for us, we told too many people in the front end preference. We just did. And we didn't do that the second, third, or fourth time.
And a lot of times, I mean, you don't know what causes miscarriages. Everybody's body dynamic is different and history and health history. But sometimes people are just feeling pressured. They're feeling forced. They're feeling like, hey, you're getting to that age now, or you need to do this, or we're asking about this. And just, you have to embrace everybody's journey is different. Like, I was sitting here right now on this podcast. I didn't realize we started like 6 months into our marriage, and I'm like, oh, it was that quick. But at the same time, everybody's journey is different. And so that's Adele. That's how we,
That's how we got her.
That's how we got her in terms of the journey, the struggle, the conversations that got her here. But that's just a little tidbit of it. As you guys continue to listen to the podcast, we have so many more stories about Alana's pregnancy with Adele and how the man child got here, because we our life is an open book to you guys because we want you to know, and maybe we can share through our journeys, but we just wanted to share that with you. She turned 5 and it was hot in her mind.
It was. And we want you guys to know that if you are struggling with infertility or struggling with a miscarriage or struggling with, okay, I've had a miscarriage, but here's kind of where my marriage is at. We are not perfect in our marriage, but we can give you ideas, tips, and tricks. We are blessed with the love that God has given us, but it isn't without pain and suffering and open communication. So we'd love to talk to you guys more about that. Of course, if you have experienced a miscarriage or kind of walking through the infertility journey, whether it be with a spouse or whether you've decided to have a baby on your own, I'm more than happy to talk to you about that. You guys can reach out to us, and it's just info@themizellshow.com, or you can go over to our website, themizellshow.com, or of course over on Instagram, all the same way, The Mizell Show. Thanks, guys. Are you loving The Mizell Show? Well, we love you all. And did you know that you can have me and Steven talk to your team or a group of 25 of your friends? All it takes is 25 people showing up on either a Zoom call, a Facebook Live, or really anywhere. Hopefully in person sooner rather than later. But how do you get us? So all you have to do is email themizellshow@gmail.com, or you can direct message us on Instagram @themizellshow.